What's up, everybody? Today is, what day of the week is it? Thursday, April 3rd. And this is Outdoor Cats. This is Outdoor Cats like it is every time you listen to Outdoor Cats. Every time you listen to Outdoor Cats, my name is Bill, and my co-host's name is Chris. Chris, how you doing today?
That's me. I'm doing all right. I've had a roller coaster of a day. I had a job interview that I'm pretty sure I absolutely bombed, kind of through no fault of my own. They just asked me a bunch of extremely technical questions about a type of union work that I didn't know the answers to, and I don't know how I would have. But anyway, and then I read a little article in Mass Live this morning about thousands of National Grid customers getting hundreds or thousands of dollars in money back because National Grid was late in billing them for their electricity. I don't think I've told this story here. I'm pretty sure I haven't, but back in November, so conveniently about 3 weeks after I lost my job, I got a bill from National Grid for $2,600.
What?
For gas. And it turns out the reason is they did not bill me prior to that for the entire 4 years I've lived in this apartment. Which I didn't you set up your utilities. I figure it's like auto paying on a card, whatever. But yeah, that was not happening. They just didn't bill me for 4 years. And then they billed me all at once. But because of this article I saw, I placed a little call to the Department of Public Utilities, and I spoke with an investigator there who thinks that I probably am not going to have to pay all of that money. They'll only be able to get me for the 60 days before. So I might have saved us a few $1,000s. So yeah, it's been strikes and gutters, man.
Yeah, that's right. I had a sort of a similar situation in my apartment. Katie lived here before I did, and she somehow, you know what? I don't want anybody from National Grid ever hearing this story. I'm not going to. We saved a lot of money on electricity. We saved a lot of money on electricity Anyway, today on the show, we had, just a few minutes ago, we had school committee member Sue Mailman call in with us on our new recording service that we're trying out today. And Sue was very impressed. She was very impressed with us, and that's what we talked about the entire time. Just kidding. We talked about the fact that school committee member Kathy Roy filed a police report against Sue for a conversation that they had. The conversation they had apparently warranted police action. Luckily, the officer that took Kathy's call didn't really agree that much police action was needed. So there's now an incident report, but there are no charges being pressed.
Yeah, and it seems like the option is open for Kathy to try to take this to court and get some kind of a harassment order or whatever. And I think that sounds like it'd be a pain in the ass for Sue, but I think that would be really funny to hear in court. So luckily, one thing I will thank David Webb for, did not think I would say that, but one thing I would thank David Webb for is we already have in our hot little hands the body cam footage from when the officer went to see Kathy Roy to take this report. And, I'll say first, if there was somebody I thought was going to lose their shit and scream like an insane person, and I had to choose between Kathy Roy and Sue Coughlin Mailman, I know who I would be expecting that from. But we will link to this body cam footage. Really just kind of, I was saying to Sue, she called me yesterday because I had texted her. And I was saying to Sue, said, Sue, I've read a lot of police reports and I've heard a lot of incident narratives, and this one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all, like at the basic level. But yeah, getting to hear Kathy does some pretty fun things. She tries to incorrectly guess the officer's ethnicity. And then when he says he's 100% Puerto Rican, she's like, "Oh, do you speak Spanish?"
It's the best.
Yeah, real. I'm trying not to be a racist goober so hard right now. Energy.
The coolest thing to do to a stranger.
For sure. Yeah, definitely trying to guess people's ethnicity is a really awesome and cool and normal thing to do.
You know what I'm going to call it? I'm calling it Outdoor Cats rule number 4. Whenever you're meeting someone for the first time, you guess their ethnicity.
Yes.
You always do that with every single person you're meeting. It's a great way to break the ice, and it never demonstrates some underlying assumptions you might be making about them.
Yeah, no, it's very cool to do, and it will guaranteed result in an interesting follow up in that conversation. So yeah, definitely do that as often as possible. Try it out on retail clerks, police. Also, great people to try it out with, guys with guns and handcuffs. But yeah, so I won't spend a lot of time on this because we talk about it a little with Sue. This is ultimately just a dumb, stupid Worcester politics thing, but that's our beat. So
that's right.
Yeah, the thing I'll say, and I think people should watch this themselves, but the narrative here is that the meeting ends. Joe gavels the meeting to an end, and to hear Kathy tell it instantly at the second after that gavel, Sue is out of her chair and in Kathy's face and jamming a finger right up in her face so aggressively that Kathy was afraid that Sue was going to hit her. But weirdly, in a council chamber, in a city chamber, where there were 10 people present. One member wasn't there. The only people, I might have gotten the math wrong there. How many people are on school committee? Eight. Sorry.
Nine. One's absent, so 8.
Yes. So there's 8 people there. The people she says witnessed this incident are Diane Biancaria, her good pal, and Maureen Benenda, her other good pal. Apparently
her
the mayor,
her liege.
Yeah.
Her liege. I've heard her call her that before.
Many times.
Yes, my liege. That's what she says. Yeah.
Right after guessing her ethnicity.
What are you, Irish? What are you, Italian?
Yeah.
You look like you might be Irish and Italian.
Italian is what she guessed with the cop. That's very funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It's just so funny.
So Kathy Roy says that Diana Biancaria and Maureen Benenda
yes
witnessed this. I don't know what language she uses. Assault, something, whatever.
Whatever she's calling it. Certainly an act of overt aggression. However, the mayor, who by her telling had just a second before gavelled the meeting to an end, apparently did not see the incident, she says. Molly McCullough, she mentions by name, but then also says she did not see the incident. She's asked if there was a police officer at the meeting, and she says there was, but they also didn't see the incident. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a weird...
Could it have been... So I have a theory here. Could it have been that they all saw it, but it did not register as an incident in their brains because literally Sue just went over and asked her a question?
Yeah.
Could that have been it? Maybe.
Possible. There's a whole world of possibilities. I will give Kathy this much credit and say that I fully believe that things happen in Kathy Roy's head, that only happen in Kathy Roy's head. And so, maybe she really believes it happened. But anyway, yeah, I don't think this happened.
Right. But even if it did happen, like, I don't know if I watched that part of the video. What did she actually say happened? Because I know what Sue said happened. Sue said that she went up and asked 2 questions. Like, one was, how the heck are you supporting Trump? Look at what's going on. Mm-hmm. And the second one, hilariously, was how do you feel
about
now
the insurrection?
About the insurrection? Because Kathy Roy, I mean, she had a public Venmo. She bought some bus tickets for the insurrection. So.
Yeah, she sure did. We've got receipts and everything on that.
Yeah.
So the way Kathy tells it is exactly the same story, except in reverse. That Sue came at her aggressively, yelling, asking these two questions. And that she said she didn't want to talk about it, or she wasn't going to discuss that with her. That's exactly what Sue says happens, except Sue says she asked her these questions, valid questions, in a calm way, and that Kathy kind of lost her shit and started yelling, saying she wasn't going to discuss it. Kathy just tells it the exact opposite way. I am gonna go out on a limb here and say Kathy Roy probably has like restaurants she's not allowed to go to anymore. She's probably like had an ongoing feud with like a Dunkin' Donuts employee or something. So I just, looking at the totality of the circumstances, And Kathy, we got the receipts on the buses, so I hope you had fun in DC that day, and yeah.
Wow, it's awesome. It's so, I mean, the thing that gets me is like, yeah, obviously hypocrisy is like a moot concept. It's not even worth pointing out, but you just love to see a member of the MAGA movement do objective snowflake things, behave in snowflake ways, engage in snowflake-esque behavior.
Yes,
because it's maybe they've just been telling on themselves the whole time with that, you know?
At the end of the day, like, I have a whole theory that this is the spiral we're all falling down, and they have those same tendencies, and as soon as they are in a position to use them, they're more than happy to. Another really funny thing Kathy says in the video was that she couldn't believe that this question was being asked of her in the hallowed chambers of our city's deliberative bodies, which I find really funny from someone who was booking Stop the Steal tickets.
Yeah. She was like, we care about history. I care about history. How dare you ask me a political question in this historical chambers where no politics has ever happened?
Yeah. I mean, meanwhile, there were bus tickets bought to, if you think that any chambers are hallowed, I think you'd have to argue Congress is pretty hallowed. And a bunch of people went there and like threw shit on the ground and smoked weed and like took dumps. I have an opinion that people might find controversial, and I'm full of those, so that's okay. I think the Capitol riot was mostly really funny. I don't think it's funny that people died, but I think like seeing conservatives be the dog that catches the car and then has no idea what to do with it, and then they're like, "Whoa, we're in." I don't know. Let's like smoke a joint in the rotunda and then take as many pictures and videos of us doing crimes as possible. I just think it's really funny. Anyway,
the most praxis committed on that day was taking a dump on Nancy Pelosi's desk, and
which is also really fucking funny.
To be honest, I'm not seeing a crime there. You know, in the court of bill, that is not a crime.
Yeah.
So
you see someone take a dump on Nancy Pelosi's desk? No, you didn't.
That's right. No, you did not. All right. I'm sure Sue's gonna love that intro into her into our interview with her. But let's play it. Let's hear from the woman of the hour. We don't need that. Sue! Yeah, just turn it back where it was. Cool. Okay. Sue, you're our first guest on this new, better podcast recording thing we're trying out.
Well, it looks pretty nice. I mean, it looks real clear.
Yeah, it's
Does it seem better to you guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So far. And yeah, it'll either be great or we'll
You'll
find out.
figure
I
out
don't know.
something else.
Everything went in the garbage or something.
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, Sue, thank you for coming on and talking about all this with us. This is a pretty wild day and a half you've been having here, huh?
Yeah, Worcester, Mass, USA, but key is USA, I think.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, right. The more important news is certainly the lawsuit, but
Yep.
it's the talk of the town. We gotta talk about it right after bat. We gotta ask about it. What do you
That's
make
fine.
of this police report
Oh, I
that
don't know.
Kathy Roy filed after you? I don't even know how to categorize it.
After I asked her a question after
Yes.
the meeting at our school committee meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things and I've said this to my husband a few times too, like when I think of all the questions I've been asked at different board meetings or even on my short time on the school committee here, which is year 4, I think right now, this isn't, it's an uncomfortable question, but I think, I can't imagine there's any of us that have not been asked uncomfortable questions. And I guess I think it's the juxtaposition right now of a mayor that's talking to us about federal cuts and all of us understanding the implications to our kids in Worcester. And then thinking about someone who represents a position, someone on our committee who represents a position that is like a well-known position in this country right now that is not, in my mind, it doesn't go along with public education. It doesn't go along with everything we're trying to do for our kids. So I wonder how people that are coming from that view, I wonder how what do they think of in this moment? I don't understand how you can serve on a school committee and be like, are you happy that all these potential cuts might be happening to our kids? Are you nervous? How do you make this make sense in your head?
Right.
And so I decided after the mayor had a big discussion about federal cuts and speaking up, which I think is totally important. I was thinking about, saying something at the moment, and it was a long meeting, and I said, settle down, Sue, settle down. And at the end of the meeting, I just grabbed my coat and my jacket, and I went over to my colleague, and I asked her what her thoughts about the insurrection were now. And she didn't like the question and was very upset and told me she was absolutely not going to have this discussion with me, got pretty loud and excited. And I just would really just like to say, well, can you imagine like somebody might say, well, Sue, I still, believe that, putting buses together for the Stop the Steal campaign was like the right thing to do because
X, Y, and Z.
And there's some answer, but there's no answer. So I've not heard an answer. And and then to hear the next day that somebody was gonna file a report. I'm like, what report are you filing? I asked you a question, and so she did file an incident report. My colleague did, and the police, I think the next day, and then the police called me the day after that, and I told them what happened. And it's just, it's nonsense. It's not about that particular colleague, nor is it about me. It's like about where our country's at right now.
Right.
And how are community after community addressing this struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we should say, this is a valid question. And you asked this specific person, and this specific person is Kathy Roy, who represents District E on the school committee. You asked this specific question to this specific person for a reason.
Right.
And there are some things we know, and there are some things we think we probably know about Kathy and her political stances, her support for President Trump and this administration, and her alleged involvement in organizing buses for people to go to what became the
Right.
Capitol insurrection.
Right. That's not a casual observer. Do you know what I mean in my mind? And
Right.
And it's seems to me to be a very valid question. What are we're already looking at 1.5 million in cuts. I saw that.
so I think the 1.5 is not going to happen. But when
Okay.
they said last week that they were going to stop funding for anybody that hadn't used their ESSER dollars, it's a bogus statement anyways, because we really have till 2026. However, our final invoice went in, so we're actually ahead of the game. So Worcester, Desi has said we're going to be fine. So the report that came out might have been a little dated from the state.
Yeah.
But think about, on that same report, Bill, I thought I saw Springfield at $44 million. I mean,
Wow.
what the hell?
Yeah.
Right?
How does a district make up something like that?
And how does the state, if we think of the potential, the scariest thing to me is the Medicaid discussion and the cuts that could happen
Yeah.
with Medicaid, which could be just nobody can recover from that. The state can't, our rainy day funds can't recover from that, none of that. So every day when I'm thinking about this stuff, I think it's super serious.
Yeah. And so valid question then.
Yes. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
Are you do you still back this? I mean, so zooming out though, because Kathy Roy voted against the lawsuit, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
there was an executive session.
Yep.
There's an executive session vote. Was it last Friday, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. It was 6-2 to enter into this lawsuit with some other districts in Massachusetts, correct?
Yes.
As a declarant, I believe, right? Not a plaintiff.
Correct. We are not the plaintiffs. Somerville and East Hampton are the plaintiffs. The organization that we're signing on with is Democracy Forward, is their name. So it's what was described to us is that this is kind of in parallel to the Attorney General's suit on the same subject.
Right.
So Worcester is what's called a declarant or a witness. So we will be supplying information. You can imagine, I'm not sure about Somerville's demographics, but certainly East Hampton's demographics are not like Worcester. So, I would think they would need our information as we go forward with this little shit show that we're.
Yeah, and we are the second
Country.
largest district in
Correct.
the Commonwealth also.
Correct.
We are a very
100%.
substantial educator of kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And poor kids and
Right.
lots of challenges. And so, yes, I personally would, I would have been fine if we, were one of the litigants, but I think this is a logical place for us to be as well. The only person missing from that vote was Vanessa, and Vanessa works in Southbridge, and this was a 12 p.m. middle of the day meeting. So, yeah.
Oh, someone who can't make important school committee things because they have a regular job?
Can you imagine? Mm-hmm. And that sometimes stuff gets scheduled at bad times that don't work for everybody. That stuff happens, right?
Yeah. Well, thancfully, the Vanessa won't have her pay docked for that. But
No.
that's a whole other discussion.
I understand. And thankfully, the right decision was made there, too. So that's all good.
Yes, for sure. So zooming even further out, as somebody who voted in favor of becoming a declarant on the lawsuit, what informed that decision? Why do you want to be a part, or have Worcester be a part of this this action against the Trump administration? Because
I think we are a district of need with great need, and I think some of the things that get funded with federal dollars, like food and special education and Perkins money, something that funds like career and technical programs. are meaningful dollars to our district, and they can't be replaced elsewhere. I think it seems to me, and again, I'm going to just keep saying, in my mind, like 4 years on a committee isn't a hell of a long time. It's okay,
Yeah.
but it's like there's a lot of technical, funding things that happen in education, and it's pretty intense, intricate. You guys have talked to Tracy Novick over the years, many, many times, and she's one of our experts. Actually, I get to serve on the board of the Mass Association of School Committees, where Tracy works as the chair of the urban division. So tomorrow I get to attend, in that role, a national convention of school committee people down in Atlanta. And I'm super curious to see what's the tenor going to be. Like, what are people thinking across the country, like at this incredibly amazing time in history that we're at?
Right. Yeah, it's like
I'll report back.
I'd love to hear it, because it could go one of two ways. You have people talking about how the Department of Education really funds a lot of good stuff, and why are we destroying this? Doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
And then you have other people being like, why is there a book in the library that I don't like that I saw on Facebook? We need to get rid of this book in the library because it has a gay kid on the cover. I mean, but like, seriously though, Sue, I'd like to point my finger at Donald J. Trump and ask him, like, what is accomplished by dismantling the Department of Education, of all like federal bureaucracies? Like, what are we getting done here?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why do you appoint my understanding is not only is she a world welterweight, what is it called? WWE champion.
Oh yeah, she's
as the head of the
a wrestling
department.
exec.
And I think she's a charter school fan too. It's this whole battle against public education, right? They want it privatized. They don't appreciate teacher unions. They don't appreciate unions. I hope one of the things at the end of the day that we get to is that when we look back, we understand that like what happened under the Biden administration in terms of unions was like really solid.
Yeah.
Really solid stuff. And the fact that members, in my industry in construction, members voted against that, So there's messaging, there's all kinds of issues with that. But I don't know. I mean, some of the data that we keep, some of the civil rights issues, that's what the Department of Education keeps on top of. And I think it's critical data for our city, for sure.
Right.
For many others.
Yeah. So where do we go from here with this lawsuit? What sort of any
so
word
they'll
from...
come to us at different points in this. What I understand is we'll be kind of viewed as that witness. So as this goes forward in the process, which courts, I have no idea how long this case will, go or any of that kind of stuff. We're going to be there on the side with them. And I think at any point you could also become one of the plaintiffs as well, but I'm not sure that needs to happen. I think we'll be supplying all the information that we can at the same time.
Right. Great.
And like all this other stuff that we've been, why are we talking about these issues at the local level? Well, because they're like, there are issues. This is like how we're going to survive or not. So I don't know. So I appreciate that you guys do this show to give opportunity to respond to nonsense, if I can use that word. And I don't know. I guess we got to keep each other straight as much as possible.
Yeah. I hate that. I'll just small little rant time. This whole discussion of purview is just like entire apolitical nonsense.
Yes, it is.
How is it not? How is it not purview? This is the best example. We're looking at a direct material impact.
Yes.
Millions of dollars potentially, and hundreds of thousands of dollars already. Right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's purview. Money
that's right.
The district gets, the money that district spends, it's all purview. Sue, I'm curious, what the response from the community has been since the news of this broke yesterday or the day before?
Yeah. You know, I'd listen to a local talk show radio in the morning who the response was exactly what you'd expect. Those crazy people or, look what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Yet I even think with that crazy talk show, I think that I choose to listen to it or choose to call in because I feel like we need to be heard in multiple forums, right? There's no one forum anymore. I mean, I saw a Mass Live article and all they did was snip the Telegram's article and it was the first version of the Telegram's article, which was wrong. So we had to correct that. And it's just crazy insane, but a ton of support from friends and people that know me and people that, I think I've said this to you before, Bill, that I think that it's important for us to speak up on these bodies. We're not there, in my opinion, we're not there to just kind of go along with the program. We're there to challenge, what is before us, whatever that role will be. We're excited. I ran because I thought we needed change in leadership in the schools, and we got it. And it's really, really cool to watch and witness and see the hope that can come from not just our kids, but definitely our kids, but also our teachers, our educators in all areas. It's super cool. So so I'm very supportive of this administration and the work that we're doing, and I think it's fantastic that the superintendent would be willing to participate in something like this, because I think it is valid to say, oh, maybe we should be quiet. That's kind of valid, but at the end of the day, this stuff is crashing down on us anyways, isn't it?
Yeah.
No mess. So we might as well stand up against it. And it seems like Attorney General Campbell is right on it. So I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've both already said it. I personally do not understand or accept at all this convenient debate around purview that is used selectively when it feels convenient for the people that use it. I mean, one of the items that I saw potentially on the chopping block is the funding that we get to feed kids free breakfast and lunch. If you're on the school committee and you don't think that having something to say or trying to do something about that is your purview, I don't think you should be there.
I know. Mm-hmm. It's all critical stuff, and the record keeping is critical stuff too. Really, how do we measure how we're doing if we don't have some of this data going forward? And as much as it probably kills us to submit, it's there's value there. Yeah. So we're today there's $53 million in our budget of about $565 this coming year. That is federal dollars, and the other great number is the state number. And if the state is impacted in such a way that, when we talk about the Medicaid stuff, all bets are off. So it's really serious. That's what I'm trying to say. And when I listen to Joe and then I just look, I'm like, this is so serious. What do you think? What is going through your head? So. Right. But I didn't get an answer, but maybe we will before November. We'll see.
Sue, while we have you, I know you have to run in a minute, but I wanted to ask you about something Bill and I talked about probably a month or so ago, about the resolution protective of LGBTQIA students in the public schools, and kind of what your motivation was in bringing that forward, and kind of what your thoughts are about what was done to it, which it seemed an awful lot like it was watered down into kind of an all kids matter.
I mean, I guess when I first put it forward, my thought was, okay, we can do this for kids, right? This is about kids. We don't have to. Won't be a city fight. This is about kids, and we can support families. And the more meetings that I went to, because I went to all 4 of those meetings and stayed for various lengths of time. But if I didn't stay, I went home and listened to all the commentary. And the families and parents that spoke to me and contacted me and the rest of our school committee was like, wow, was really meaningful. And again, that was another thing, like, do we listen with empathy? Do we listen to what families are going through? And so I was hopeful that it was a no-brainer. It was a really surprise to me. It was a definite surprise to have this other resolution brought at the last minute. And you'll have to have Molly on someday and ask her, but it was disappointing how the vote went down. I mean, Jermaine and Vanessa Alvarez, and Vanessa, she's such a rock star,
Vanessa
our
was
youngest.
Very good.
She was so awesome. Our youngest school committee member, standing up and calling it for what it was worth, was awesome. Because I was more dumbfounded, Chris. So, like, what's going on here? She had the presence of mind to hold it together and, ask the proper questions. Not me. She did.
Seemed like a bit of a blindside, so I'm not surprised you were blindsided.
It was crazy. Yeah. And to what end, I'm not sure, because I think we had maybe 2 people in our nights of testimony come that did not support the resolution that we put forward. So, yeah. But these are the times, I guess. And it's just sad. But I'll continue to try to say stuff out loud.
Well, Sue, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for fighting the good fight. Thank you for not getting into any actual physical fights. That's great. But
that's
you have
not my plan. That's
no. They're watching you. But no, you have a school committee meeting tonight. You gotta get going. Gotta get prepped. Best of luck.
Thank you.
And eagerly awaiting updates on this lawsuit. Exciting stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Best to you both. Bye. Good to talk. Thanks.
Isn't Sue just great? I love Sue. I'm so happy that Sue is on the school committee. She really has made that board much better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Sue's awesome. And I am really excited to do whatever little bit I can for her reelection campaign and stuff. By the way, I have Sue's papers. If you see me around and want to sign them, I have a bunch of people's papers. But yeah, including Sue's. But yeah, she's just awesome. And she doesn't do it on the podcast, but Sue's not afraid of dropping a little curse word here and there either, which is one of my very favorite things.
I like to imagine that she was going by like Talk of the Commonwealth rules, where to use your Talk of the Commonwealth call in. I wanted to say that when Sue was talking about calling in on Talk of the Commonwealth to like give her perspective on this lawsuit against the Trump administration that's making the townies freak out, that I called in to the Talk of the Commonwealth a couple weeks ago after I did that like little radio story about the Clark strike. It was like in between. That's right. It was in between that and the episode that we got up there with the interviews. Ben had me on to explain it. And as I'm waiting to do my little explainer about the Clark strike, I'm listening, and the guy in front of me is like a call-in guy, and he's talking about, how actually it's a good thing, and he likes it that we're sending American citizens to prison in El Salvador, to CCOT or whatever it's called.
Yep.
And that was a couple of weeks ago before that news really came into vogue. So that guy was ahead of the curve in defending the Trump administration's use of CCOT.
Right out there on the vanguard. morning talk radio, especially local morning talk radio, is just such an interesting relic to me, and it is amazing. It's not a relic; people still do it. Very, very fascinating.
Yeah, it's interesting, and but it really, in terms of conversation, there's so little local press right now that like Sue was talking about with the Telegram article, and then there was a Mass Live article that was just reprinting the Telegram article and not even updating it with more information. So the discourse, unless you're on social media, it's you can only really get it on the radio station, which is why we're really primed here with this podcast, I think, to directly compete with the Talk of the Commonwealth. And Ben White, if you're listening,
we're going to take you down.
I am coming for you. Just kidding. Ben's great, and fucking Hank's great. Whatever. We're all doing the whatever.
There's a place for that, and there's a place for this too.
Right. Exactly. But once we figure out how to do live call-ins,
it's over.
It's over. I love my little sound pad.
I know you do.
This thing.
I'm so jealous.
It's so good. It's so good. You know what I need to put on there is the Curb Your Enthusiasm outro. Because apparently folks in City Hall all today have been quite tickled by my little Mo Bergman Curb Your Enthusiasm video that I put up after the meeting on Tuesday. I guess we'll link to that. But
yeah,
this is one of the greatest moments in the live stream that we do. Worcester Council Theater 3000 history. Brian O'Donnell catches it right at the end of the meeting after Mo Bergman was making an ass of himself for the entire meeting. Mo Bergman goes to performatively throw his city council agenda and information packet into the recycle bin next to him, and he misses, and the papers scatter everywhere with a loud thwack, and then he does the classic thing that you don't really ever see caught on camera. Everyone's done it, but when you drop something on the floor, you scoot with your rolly chair, you wiggle your butt a little bit and pull yourself up by your heels, and he scoots over to go pick them up. It's just so funny, man.
This is the worst possible medium to be describing it. So you really do have to watch it. But
yeah, we'll link to it.
It's amazing. It's so many papers, and every single one of them misses the cans, and they all go different ways. And yeah. He does the little almost cartoonish spinning feet skedaddle to try to get his papers. He looks like one of those dogs that starts running in a cartoon, but it doesn't start going anywhere yet.
Right. Yeah. There's dust clouds moving under his feet.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is that almost anyone else I can think of on that council, whether I like them or not, they can take themselves unseriously enough for just a minute to be all right, that was funny. Mo is incapable of that.
He was furious.
Yes.
Fuming on the inside. Yeah. If that was me and I did that, I'd be like, oh, look at this dumbass over here. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. No, but you don't... You can't give up those easy wins. It takes a lot of work to be as unlikable as Mo Bergman, and you can't be affable in small moments like that because it really sets you back on your quest. If you're min-maxing unlikability, then you really have to be that person all the time. So in that way, you got to respect Mo Bergman. Chris, speaking of unlikability, we have an update. We have a very important update on the senior tax work-off program.
That's right, we do.
That we talked about. How many episodes was that? Fucking whatever.
I don't know, 3 or 4 ago.
3 or 4 episodes ago, we broke down Candy Merrill Carlson and Kate Toomey's staunch defense of this little used city program in which seniors who are looking for $2,000 off of their property tax bill can work at minimum wage for free for the city for what was it, like a month of full-time work.
Yeah, it's like 138 hours or something. It was a lot of hours.
Right. And the only reason why they were defending that is because Candy's challenger in the upcoming city election, Rob Bellata, was like, hey, Boston just did a home rule petition to give seniors more property tax relief. They expanded the amount of property tax relief, and they expanded the definition of who can apply for it because housing's out of control and senior homelessness has doubled since 2020 or 2021. So maybe we should do the same thing as Boston and, supersede state law to give our seniors more tax relief than state law currently allows via a home rule petition. All of that, if that sounds confusing to any of our listeners, that's because that's all like very wonky government stuff, but it's good stuff. And that's what we want our city councilors to be. Candy Merrill Carlson, hearing that, she goes, oh, I can't have this guy. I can't have this guy freaking showing me up. I can't have him talking about home rule petitions and other stuff that I probably don't understand. I need to stick my neck out on this program that I've been fighting for where seniors can go to the work camp to get at maximum probably 40% off of their property tax bill. Because as we've discussed, you're looking at, for any house in Worcester, basically, you're looking at like $5,000 minimum on your property tax bill. And this only gets you $2,000. But she asked the city for a report. So the city came back with the report. So we get Candy Merrill Carlson yet again standing up on Tuesday defending the senior tax work-off program. And I pulled the clip. So I'm gonna play that now.
Who are eligible for the senior tax work-off program. Said opportunities should include providing support for election operations, with the senior center programming and any other relevant support to the city departments. Councilmember Carlson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As we all know, we passed the senior tax work-off program, and currently there are 4 individuals who have applied for the senior work-off program, which gives them $2,000 off of their yearly tax bill. So one of the items that we came up with that thought we could get some more folks involved is working through the clerk's office. And the clerk, as we all know, is always looking for people during election time. And there's a tremendous amount of our seniors who work during election time. So they could have the opportunity to use those hours to get that $2,000 off their tax bill. So,
which is the same as getting paid minimum wage in the first place.
That was something that we could have the administration work with the clerk's office, because the amount of folks that we this past year said that we were looking to do was 20. So we basically right now need 16 additional individuals, which I would certainly
we need to get
love
more
to see
seniors
this
into
program
our
expanded,
program to prove that it's good.
because quite frankly, a lot of our seniors don't participate, whether it's in this program or whether it's in the senior abatement program.
God, why don't they participate?
With education, certainly a lot of people don't know it. So I was hoping that we could
education.
do this.
It's not that it stinks.
To the 20 individuals who could certainly use the tax break. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Manager, all those in favor of proposal.
It's not a tax break. It's straight up, it's just not a tax break.
It's not a tax break if you're providing what is I would qualify. I'm not an expert on the legal terminology here, but I would say this is something like an in-kind donation of time.
Right.
So it's not a tax break. You are working for the hours and getting paid minimum wage, and that's what comes off your bill. That's not a break. That's servitude.
Yeah, and instead of just getting the money that you would get as a poll worker in the 1099 or the W-2 or whatever, however that money comes in. I don't know. I've never been a poll worker, but that's a normal job. You get paid for the hours that you work. So Candy's saying, well, why don't they just pay straight into the property taxes instead?
Yes, I did a quick little poke while you were playing that to see what a rough tax bill on Candy's house would be. Her address is public. I'm not going to give it, but anyone could find it. All elected officials' residential addresses are public. Candy's house is valued at about $340,000. Which means Candy's tax bill at our current tax rate would be I have $4,484. Let's call it an even $4,500. So her house, it seems pretty modest. Seems like something a senior, for example, might live in. In that example, someone with a $340,000 house, which is really hard not to have a $340,000 or more house in Worcester right now.
There's not many cheaper than that.
That's about 40% of your tax bill, which is basically what you said.
Yeah, it's like you have to work a month for no pay to get 40%. It's like if we're giving, why not just give that, right? Like why make seniors work for it? Which actually is the perfect segue to the second clip I pulled, which is Rob Bellotta at the beginning of the meeting. So Candy was defending her little pet senior work camp at the end of the meeting. Public only can comment at the beginning of the meeting. So Rob, seeing on the agenda, doesn't quite know what Candy's going to say yet, but has an idea. And Rob offers his opinion of the senior tax work-off program.
Why the senior tax off work program is not popular. Seniors have worked long enough. They don't want to work anymore. Something like a senior tax exemption is really more helpful to seniors who have worked their whole lives. And obviously support 8W.
Simple as that. Seniors have worked their whole lives. They don't need to work anymore. And if you can afford to give $2,000 to participating seniors for off their tax bill, like why make them work for it?
Yeah,
right.
It's like an obsession with like means testing and like the Puritan work ethic or whatever. Like seniors, just give them the money, man. They've done enough. They worked.
And this like total inversion of what a social service is supposed to be, where Candy is talking about how they need to get more. The goal is to get 20 seniors into this work camp. I don't quite know how to express this, but it's like coming from a place of defending her idea.
Yes.
As like being popular. And the reason why the idea isn't popular is because not enough people know about it. If everyone knew about it, then obviously these seniors would be signing up in droves to do minimum wage work for free in order to pay half the property tax that they would. And that's just crazy. That's like the Kamalama Ding Dong Pell Grant, like Pell Grants for business owners in disenfranchised areas thing from the
Harris campaign. Yeah. That went over like a wet fart.
Right, because like we just saw that the government can give people money. right? Like in a time of crisis, the state can do that. It's just when the state wants to define there being a crisis. The current housing crisis that has led to a doubling of the number of unhoused seniors from 2020 to now, I think personally would qualify. And I don't know. I think you'd be hard pressed to find an argument against like getting rid of the work requirement of that and just giving seniors a bigger break on their taxes, which is what Bellata was asking for.
Yeah, I mean, the success or lack of success of the program is also just a testament to how fucking shitty it is. They're trying, their aspirational goal is to get 20 seniors into this program. I'm mad enough that I'm over here doing math, which is a very dangerous thing for me to do. I'm terrible at math. But estimating Worcester's population at about 200,000 people, according to the census, 13.3% of our residents are 65 or over. That's 26,000 seniors.
Right.
26,000. Like, I haven't crunched the number of how many 20 is of 26,000. But it's like
it's not a lot.
1,000% or something. It's nothing. It's a rounding error. And that's what their idea of a successful implementation of this program is. And
yeah, like mission accomplished once we get 20 seniors working a month for us for free.
Yeah, the other 25,980 will be fine, I guess.
Right. And the cost to the city of 20 seniors doing this program, absent work, is just 20 times 2,000.
Yeah, it's $40,000.
Right, which
it's
is like
what a cop makes in detail pay, not even a particularly like ambitious one.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. Like that. It's why even talk about it? It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing to talk about. But no, Candy, like, please keep talking about it because
and Rob keep talking about it too.
The only thing that this is saying anything about is you. Here's another. You want to do some more math, Chris? What is how many more times 20 is 90?
4.5.
That's the last point in time count. Unsheltered senior homeless.
Yeah.
In the city of Worcester. That's up from 42 in 2021. I believe I have that report on my drive, so I'll pull that out and link to it. But it's like that's an unacceptable metric. It is it's a failure of our society. For senior homelessness to double, and here we have stupid idiot Candy Merrill Carlson talking about how we need 16 more seniors working at the polls. Like, get the fuck out of here. Shut up.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I know we have other things to talk about and not all the time in the world, but I mean, there should be a new point in time census coming out, and I know this because I participated in the count this year. Someone asked me if I could help out and just kind of like hit my neighborhood, and so I did. And it was fucking depressing. I did just the immediate area. I did like the block surrounding my apartment. I found people in the parking garage, in the stairwells. I found people, crouched behind dumpsters. And then I went over to Union Station, and I mean, I took, 15 or 20 reports before I was kind of out of time, and something was kind of getting a little dicey with the cops, and I was like, I should just get out of here. The place is full of unhoused people, like sleeping on the floor in the train station, and until they get kicked out at like 6 a.m. or whatever. It's really fucking disgusting, and it is a failure. It is a complete failure of our city and also state and federal administrations. But it starts here at the city, and I have said that to council before. Like, someone being unhoused in this city is not their failure; it's yours. You fucked up. You need to help. It really upsets me. It really makes me mad. And as I did this census, people were like, is there like, they're always saying, oh, there's programs for people. There's programs for people. People were begging me. They're like, oh, do you know about programs I can get into? Do you know about this? And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm just here to count. Like I'm a volunteer guy. Like I don't know I'm nobody. Yeah. But yeah, people are desperate for help and we're not helping them. And this is the best that Candy Merrill Carlson can offer. And I think that's really disgusting.
You know what would be fun thing, a fun experiment. Let's give Katie Merrill Carlson a housing voucher.
Yes.
And let's give Katie Merrill Carlson a housing voucher and see if she can use it.
That's an excellent idea.
I think that every city councilor should be required to try to find an apartment with a housing voucher. Mm-hmm. And I think that many of them will find it to be the most difficult thing they've ever done in their lives. Many of them won't succeed. And they, we don't even need to it's not a life and death thing for them. I think that they should just have to experience what that's like before they ever talk about the issue of homelessness ever again. Anyway, I got our next thing kind of related to the city not taking it seriously thing. You'll remember another update from another past segment. Tamara Lundy goes from having a hand in destroying CHL to being the new director of public health, which oversees the city's 3 or 4 employees that deal with homelessness besides the cops. The city refuses now to release her resume, which I'll pull up the article. But this is
while you're pulling that up, I think what we could say, I don't know if you're a camper or a hiker, but one of the cardinal rules of camping and hiking is you leave the place better than you found it. I think we can say Tamara Lundy did not leave the place better than she found it.
No, so we talked about this last time, but she left a community health link amid complete turmoil of these failed state inspections, mass layoffs, budget cuts, whole programs getting closed, and had recently was appointed to be the director of our tiny and crucial public health department. That was an Eric Batista appointment, and I guess Eric Batista might take issue with the paper of record asking to see a director of public health's resume because he didn't have to show one to get hired. But now I'm reading from the Telegram. The Telegram's Henry Schwan, who I typically loathe, and I find to be a rather repugnant voice in the city, has been actually weirdly strong on this one story. He writes, the city of Worcester has denied public records requests by the Telegram Gazette for a copy of the resume of the city's newly hired public health director. Tamara Lundy's blah, 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 blah. It's a $115,000 annual salary, boosted by an annual $13,000 regional public health stipend. It's unclear from the writing whether that stipend is on top of the $115,000 or is making up part of that pay, but whatever. The city is not releasing this resume, and the T&G plans to appeal the denial to the supervisor of public records, the Secretary of State, Bill Galvin, another repugnant individual. But when it comes to Worcester will deny your public records requests basically up until the point where you're like, I'm going to appeal with the state, because then it's a headache. I've literally gotten records from the city that way before, where I'm like, hey, if you don't send this in the next couple of days, I'm going to have to file an appeal with the state. And they're like, oh, sorry, here you go.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. Well, I do understand the hesitation here for like releasing like the bare minimum for a job application for a public for a public job. Like the salary is public, the work expectations are public, the org chart is public. Everything about this job is public, but I guess we don't get to see the resume of the person that was selected by our city manager to do this job. And I have to imagine that the hesitance to release it has something to do with, we do not know what happened between now and May of 2023 when she left Community Health Link. Like, nobody know. What was she doing, you know?
I kind of wonder if there is a resume. I'm not joking. Like I really do wonder.
Yeah, like this, she didn't submit a resume as part of the application packet, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have no information in this regard. And so I'm just guessing, but like weird things happen in this city enough when someone who has power wants someone else to have a job that, I don't know. It seems within the realm of possibility. I mean, you just talked about, Eric, whose resume we never saw, who did not have to compete with any applicants for this job. I wonder if Tamara Lundy did. I really don't know.
Now, I remember there being some vague talk of other finalists for the director of public health job. Those were never named, obviously, but already here we're doing a little bit better than Eric Batista.
That is true.
In that there was some competition, but the everything else about this story smacks of a hire that is in the same vein as Eric Batista, because it's really weird. It's really weird how in all of the coverage of this, there's this one name that keeps coming up over and over again. UMass Memorial Health President and CEO Eric Dixon gets a quote in every single one of these stories, but Lundy herself does not.
She was asked directly by the Telegram and Gazette about the circumstances of her departure from CHL, and she refused to answer the question.
Right.
Like just straight up.
Eric Dixon, he's got a quote in every single one of these stories. So, Occam's razor, we might want to look, we're just speculating here. We're just playing make-em-ups of the situation around this, but you can envision Eric Dixon putting Tamara Lundy on the table the same way that Joe Petty put Eric Batista on the table. Or it's like, this is the person that's going to get hired. And then, we'll go through some as many emotions as we need to, but they get the job.
Yeah, I mean, all we have to go on is what we've seen here before. And I think everybody understands what we've seen here before in terms of how people from the city manager to the police chief, et cetera, with the notable exception of our school superintendent, who is, I guess, completely coincidentally, eminently qualified and really, really good at her job, who was found through an outside, genuine national search. And
like a really good search.
Yeah.
Like they went and they visited every finalist at their home district. Like, man, the 2021-2023 school committee, or whatever the school committee we had before the most recent city election, has got to go down in history as the number one GOAT board of Worcester. The fact that we were able to hire Rachel Menares and is like a testament to that board being unique. Most of the time, it's going exactly how you say. We're just hiring for, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, what would you call it? Just nepotism? But it's not even nepotism.
Patronage, but like I'm not even really sure like exactly what the exchange is, except having someone who really owes you for a job that they're not actually qualified to have, like really owes you. And there is a balance or imbalance of power that is created by that. But yeah, I am sure many people of certain types of people would damn the school committee for showing us what doing this correctly could actually look like, because unfortunately, it's the only time I can think of in recent memory that we have. And the other thing with this too is I think I have heard from people who are a little concerned with a department chief of color, woman of color, being criticized in this way. And I am sensitive to that to an extent, but I think these are really basic, again, valid questions that we deserve answers to. That this person is heading the Department of Public Health, a very important department in the city. And the other thing I wanted to say is she's making $115,000 a year plus bonus for a department that, if my memory serves me correctly, has a $900,000 total budget. And I don't say that as a criticism of her salary. I think that is like a completely reasonable salary for a department head in a city to make. I say it as a criticism of the funding of the department.
Right.
We give our entire Department of Public Health in this area less than $1 million total.
Yeah, I mean, we were asking questions like this in a sort of like back in the COVID times, the 2020, 2021, when people were taking the concept of defunding the police more seriously than they do now. We were asking good questions about like the Department of Public Health versus the police department. And those remain, and in fact, are increasingly good questions to be asking. I'm God Emperor of Worcester. My redraw of the city budget, Department of Public Health is like as big as the police department. Like there's 200 first year, there's 200 cops. The Department of Public Health has 200 social workers and outreach people and addiction specialists. And the cops, whatever, they get to sit on their ass until the violent threat of the state is needed in a situation. Otherwise, they're just sitting on their ass. And we have an actual public health department that's going out and dealing with all this stuff. But to look at the Worcester Police Department, 500-person bureaucracy, the Department of Public Health has. I looked at the org chart the other day. There's like, I don't know, six employees, something like that. It's like if it's 10, I don't think it's 10. I think there's less than 10. That's crazy. That's like,
yeah.
What are we even doing here?
We've once again we fund what we value, and it is indicative of the approach that we take to social problems, which is that we don't try to solve them. We try to arrest and police our way out of them. And I don't think, we talked about the cops a bunch last week, and you and I have talked a little bit here and there since then. I have talked to cops in the city of Worcester, as like person to person. Cops, for the most part, the ones that'll talk to me at least, they don't like their job. They didn't sign up to be cops to go push homeless people around from encampment to encampment. They don't like this arrangement either. And so it's not working for anyone.
Yeah. That was a really big theme in a paper by a sociologist in California on the housing first model. Chris Hedges, I don't know. That I've based a lot of my analysis of Worcester's homelessness response strategy is that, like, he went on ride-alongs, which I would love to do if anybody from the police department is interested in that. I would love to do some ride-alongs, especially with the gang unit, if I'm just allowed to have my location data on the entire time. But no, but the ride-along section of that report, the ride-along with the cops, is really interesting because you see that, like, the rank and file cop is, like, sick to death of that beat, wants so badly to get out of it and just be doing anything else in the department. And, like, that's the sort of rite of passage that big city police officers, they have to go through that beat of just moving unhoused people from place to place before they can go on to do any other work that's less soul sucking. So they get their soul sucked on their way into the door. So
yeah, it's a part of the point, I think. You know, like so I was an EMT for a short period of time, and I was an EMT in a completely, like, untenable situation in a place where the need just so vastly outstripped the available resources. I mean, and I think Worcester EMS, if you talk to people there, is a similar kind of situation. One of a few things is going to happen to you when you get put in that situation. You are going to, purely as a defense mechanism, you are going to harden your heart against the people that you're interacting with every day because you can't help them, and because the need is so great, and your ability to lessen it is essentially nothing. Or you're going to, like, drink yourself to death or commit suicide. I'm serious. Like, that's what got me out of that line of work. I looked around and I was like, I see people here who've turned into monsters, and I see people here that cracked their first nip at 8:30 in the morning, and I don't want to be either of those people. Yeah,
and it's a symptom of, like, putting people into positions where they lack resources and are doing a job that they have no training for and didn't sign up for. Mm-hmm. Especially with the cops, but also with EMTs, because, like, EMTs shouldn't be dealing with I don't know what you want to call it, like mental situations, really.
Yeah, or even
either,
just I know I've told you about this, and folks who've read the newsletter might know I'm a scanner head. I have a scanner. I listen to the emergency scanner in Worcester every day for some part of the day. The Worcester EMS is regularly out of ambulances. They do not have any more. Oftentimes, the private services are also out of ambulances, and we have, like, ambulances coming in from, like, Holden and Auburn to try to pitch in. And so much of what creates that that lack of services is a million calls where someone is maybe overdosing, maybe just, like, high. Some busybody calls it in. The police go and the ambulance goes, and by the time anyone gets there or shortly thereafter, the person does not want to be taken out of their high, or they're just high and they don't want to go to the hospital, and everybody gets sent home. Like, the person gets up and walks away. They don't want help. That is so taxing on this resource that we have. And there are just so many better ways to deal with it. I mean, we could have, like, an overdose prevention squad, or, something that is not affiliated with them. There's a million ideas, and we're not utilizing any of them.
Yeah, we're just content to allow the situation to get worse in a system that's unchanging, which is, take a look around. That's the American story right now. But thank God though, that's all over because Cory Booker finally got back on TV.
Ooh, thank you, Cory.
Yeah. So we fixed America. The housing secretary that they all confirmed right after he talked for 20 hours is great. He's going to do great for the homelessness issue. Everything's fixed. Everything's good. Thank you so much, Cory Booker. Amazing. What a moment,
Yeah, apparently I misunderstood the country and the role of Congress. I thought that they were supposed to legislate and try to improve the material conditions of their constituents. But actually, it turns out I was wrong. And it's a Guinness Book of World Records competition for the longest speech. And Cory Booker won. So,
yeah. No, you're wrong. It's not about like adjudicating a democracy or like upholding a social safety net, anything like that. No, it's basically just like sports for the kind of people who, when they were kids, took a rolly backpack to high school
and wore a bow tie. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I can't stand that shit, man. But good luck, Cory Booker. You talked for a long time. That's great. Good luck, Democrats. You're gonna do good. You're gonna turn it around soon. I just can tell.
Yeah. No. Doing the same thing that got all of us into this position is in fact the way out. Expecting so little of the people that we elect to represent us, that them talking for a long time is commendable. I think that's good. I think that's a minimal expectations and not demanding anything material of anyone will get us where we want to be. I'm sure of it, or at least a lot of people I know are sure of it. Apparently,
that's. Well, Chris, it's nice to have this forum where we can talk about real things and not have to compete with Cory Booker talk long news. But we've talked long enough, I think, and I think this is a good time to wrap her up and get this episode grinding through the content mill, so that we can keep doing this. We can keep doing this every week because I have fun. This is a fun podcast.
Yeah, I agree. It's a highlight of my week every week. And if this comes out and it sounds really good, all credit to us for trying a new thing with the service we use. And if it doesn't, we're going to find someone else to blame.
Right. It's not our fault. It's actually
it's Sue's fault.
It's Sue's fault. Yeah, because I'm trying to do this thing where like Democrats blame the left for everything that goes wrong while they don't try to do anything better. But it's not a really easy thing to joke about. So I guess I'm just not going to joke about it. All right, Chris, we will be back next week. More Outdoor Cats.
Later.
Big mean energy. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. That's a 9mm melody. Your mum's on benefits. Your dad's gone mad off of cannabis. You buy Gucci, but you ain't that glamorous. You're a vegan. I bet you're a vegan. You don't want beef, bitch. I do, and I've just eaten. Hiding. You'll get an hiding. I drag you out of shit, little 4-door Volkswagen Golf you be driving.